Error handling in JavaScript. Sometimes we can type something wrong and JavaScript will throw an error to show that we have a mistake in our code. So for example, let's create a new variable num. Now in the console, you can see that the value of num is 0. But now let's remove the equal sign. In this case, we have uncaught syntax error with the message that unexpected number. So this is how JavaScript shows that we did something wrong. But what is the problem? After the point when JavaScript found our error, it will not execute the rest of our code. So and this is the reason why I don't see the result of my log in the console. Let's return our equal sign back, and now let's change the let keyword to the const. And then let's reassign our num to 1. We know that we can't reassign the constant variables, so it means that this line should throw an error, but after that, let's log to the console the num. Now in the console you can see that we have the result of the first console log, but then we have our error. In this time, this is a type error with the message that assignment to constant variable. And then you see that we don't have the result of the second console log. Sometimes you don't want to stop the execution of an entire program just because one line fails. And for solving this problem, we have a try catch block. So every time when you write a code that might throw an error, you can wrap it into the try and catch block. I add our reassignment to the try block, and then I need to write the catch block. And now inside of the parentheses of the catch block, you will see a name, something like error. Actually, for this attribute, you can give any name that you want, but the real value will be the error object. And then we can display this error object into the console. So and now if I save this file, you will see that we still have the value from the first console log. Then we have our type error, but this doesn't have the error styles anymore. And then you can see that we have the value of the second console log. And as you see, this number is still equal to 0. So it means that the num equal to 1 haven't influenced our variable. So every time when you add a code inside of the try block, if this code throws an error, JavaScript returns back to the previous state that we had before the try block, and then it passes the error object inside of the catch block. Also, if you want to change the styles of this error, instead of writing console.log, you can write console.error. And now you see that our message looks like an error, but this doesn't prevent our further code from the execution. Also, instead of the console.error, you can write console.warn. It doesn't change the code behavior, it just changes the styles of this message that you see in the console. But I will return back to the console.error. So there are many different built-in errors that we can catch by using try and catch block. But sometimes we want to add custom errors. So for example, if we have an input from a user and then we want to validate it. For example, I can type the built-in function prompt, and if I save this file, in our browser, you will see a pop-up with the message that please type your age. And then I can type whatever I want. So if you hover over the variable age, you will see that the type of age is equal to string or equal to null. So it means that no matter what kind of text we type inside of our prompt, if we click the button OK, it will be converted into the string. And if we click cancel, this function will return null. Currently I click cancel, and now let's validate this input. So let's write an if statement. And inside of this if statement, I control that if our age is equal to null, and then let's throw a new custom error. So for that, I type the keyword throw, and then I need to write new error. This will create a new error object, and this object expects only one parameter, which is a message. So now I can type something like age cannot be equal to null. If I save this file, you will see the pop-up again, and if I click cancel, you will see the error in the console that age cannot be null. And now let's check that if our age is not equal to number. At first, I want to show you how to convert our string into the number. I write a new variable result that is equal to 30, and then I log to the console the result. Now we can see 30 in the console, but we also see these white styles, which means that the type of result is equal to string. So the easiest way to convert it is by wrapping the result to the number object. Now you see that the styles of the result have been changed. But what happens when we try to convert a random string? In this case, we convert it into the none. This stands for not a number. Now let's return back to our previous code. So at here, let's write that if our age is equal to none, so at first, I wrap our age inside of the number object. Actually, if you try to check it in this way, this statement will always be equal to false. And this is because not a number is always unique. So it means that this is not equal to any another not a number. And for checking it, we have a built-in function is none. So let's rewrite this validation in the way that it will work. So now this function is none will give us a boolean, so it means that it will be equal to true or false. Now this if statement will execute if the function is none gives the true. I also can explicitly write if this function is equal to true, but this code is the same as the previous one. So now let's throw a new error. And inside of this error, we can type the message that age must be a number. Let's test how it works. So I see my pop-up, and this time I will type a random string, and then I press OK, and now you see the error that age must be a number. But at this point, we show our errors in the console. So let's show these errors to a user using the alert function. I can wrap our validation into the try-catch block. And now, instead of showing this error inside of the console, let's use the alert function. So this time let's close our console, and now let's refresh our page to see how our code works. So at first you see a pop-up with the message that please type your age. So I will provide a random string. And in this case you see a message that error age must be a number. Actually, try and catch block is not a final, it also has the third part, which is finally. So this part will be executed no matter do we have an error or not. So actually, this is the same as writing our code outside of the try catch block, but the finally block has a specific semantical meaning. So very often inside of the try block, we open some files or we get the data from the internet. In this case, inside of the finally block, you can close these files or close the connection to the internet. The code inside of the finally block is a part of our try and catch block. So you just need it for separating your code into logical groups. Now you know about errors handling and custom errors in JavaScript. In the next video, we will learn about how to work with the data from the internet.